versus here's who I want them to be, and I need to stop enabling them and pull back so that they can become this person, right? It's the same in leadership. So Isabel and I were having a conversation. I said, you want them to go to the field trainers for all this BS because it's just a waste of your time. It feeds your ego, but you don't need it. You'll be a better leader. You'll be able to achieve more when you're not caught up in all this stuff. I said, here's the leadership relationship that you want to have, and here's the direction that we want to take you and your team as far as what do they come to Isabel for, what can she count on, what are you going to be providing if all these other field trainers are handling all the little stuff in the weeds. Okay? So, what Lori was saying true. I'd rather make 12% off of Nikki and Cannon or Mark Onstadt's business, or 7% off of Rachel O'Connell's business, than 50% off of Marco's business. To get that 50% is a lot more time and energy and work for me than it is to get 7% from Rachel O'Connell, who's in Colorado Springs, and she's just running, right? So I'm getting 7% of $250,000 a year off of her, and it takes no time and energy, and I'm getting 50% off of, how much have you made so far? It's taking, right? It's taking time and energy, right? You see? Now I'm going to invest the time and the energy because I know he can be a Rachel O'Connell. Not as pretty, but, right? He can be a beast like she is. He can be a $250,000 earner. He can be a $500,000 earner. So I want to invest the time and understand the real profits, like Lori was saying, is by having people that are independent, that have a much smaller override, but they produce a lot more. It's what we call, sounds like greedy capitalist stuff, Bernie Sanders wouldn't agree with this, but it's what I call high revenue, low maintenance relationships. Yeah. You know what I have with my wife? High revenue, low maintenance relationship. Not that she brings me a lot of money, but revenue in other forms of life. She brings me a ton. She's very low maintenance. Thankfully, I taught her early to have very low expectations. So she's very low maintenance, doesn't expect or demand too much. She very, Warren was in our home this morning having breakfast. He can just tell you, we really enjoy each other, and we just we were literally talking about this morning, need my help? We good?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes? Awesome. I want to interview part-time, full-time. 8 on scale 1 to 10. Who is in here? Right here, Jim. Which one screwed it up? Jim did. Jim by your standards, by my standards, it's bad. 8 out of 10. What did you do wrong? Thank you. Got it. Are you going to come back for an interview today or Monday?
I'm not sure. I was saying,
Right. You want 3 jobs or you want the income that pays you? I don't know. Some people talk out both sides about I don't know, right? I like it. You seem like you're on from the get-go. So you're leaving here and going where? What time do you go back in? Like 3? Okay. What's your schedule like tomorrow? The truck? Where you working? Or be done?
I was telling you, can I get back because I'm working all this week. I have it all scheduled.
Yeah.
I have this
What time are you going on Monday?
Monday.
You're close. So you're going in at 5 Monday.
But I mean, I'll definitely talk to him about it.
I would love to get a chance to interview you, but if we don't have it scheduled, we can do a financial plan for you. If you could schedule it for week of 10 or 11 Monday morning, 45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes, you'll know, this is something I want to look more into, more on, because I'm sure your questions or I don't. Either way, at least you'll know. And we'll know more about
That's
you.
why I'm saying.
Yeah. That's all it is. He can do it. Get something scheduled because I can't get you. They don't pay me the kind of money to be flexible enough. So whether it's 10 or it's 11 or 12, figure it out. I'm trying to adjust my schedule. And if it's like 8,
Christopher, Deanne Skips wants to interview you. I have like 3 people today. He wants to interview today. So she's scheduling for today at 7
can you help out with an interview? Yes.
What time should I tell him?
Right now.
Interview with you?
Today?
You can do it right now, or you can tell him.
All right. All right. Sorry about that little.
Do you want to use this room or that's another room?
Christopher's gonna use, you gonna use this room for a base up?
No, I'll be at 9. This is basically the base, so you're good. If you want to use that, if you want to use my office, I don't care.
We'll go, Christopher.
Where did I leave off? Was I talking about something dumb or something important?
Low maintenance relationship?
Okay. So that's what Lori was talking about. By the way, this is just 3 brokers. This is just 3 brokers. Okay?
So that's one person with 3 SMBs.
Yes.
So it's 1 plus 3.
Yes.
Okay, not.
Yes. Yes. So. I didn't do everything
Jeremiah.
But I knew if I could get the right guy to help me, I knew I could freaking do it. I didn't know it when I started, but I'm like, I'm willing to work hard enough, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to be pushed.
Oh, wow.
Because if I don't do this here, like, nobody else is gonna pay me that kind of money, not me. I'm not gonna get like, it's not like opportunities like this show up every week or every year for a guy like me. It's not like there's an opportunity for mentoring and coaching, a real plan that's really gonna work, not some BS on Instagram about some guy who's never made any money, but he's gonna tell you how to make money. And then he's like, can I tell you how many of these big influencers on Instagram literally will rent out my brother-in-law's jet for a day and then do all these vids on it like it's their jet. It's like it's their jet. How are you? Good to see you. I can tell you like it. It's not their jet, but by their videos on Instagram, you think, well, man, these guys are bald. We gotta listen to what they have to say. They're renting things, okay? They're renting the Lambo, right? So here you got a real shot at doing something big. So let me walk you through exactly what it takes. This is gonna be short, but I want to give you guys like I said at the very beginning. Here's what I promised you: the syllabus. Here's the syllabus. Here's the agenda. Here's what it takes. Okay. I've taught this for years. I'm going to teach you one more time. I just want you to have it in the back of your notes. Is like, here's the skeleton of what I need to do to graduate. Okay. So there's a couple of different things. You need to develop skills. True or not true, James?
True. Absolutely true.
True or not true? You need to develop knowledge.
True.
You need to develop, God, it's hot today, habits. You need to develop the right mindset. Okay? What do we need? What kind of skills? We're going to get into this in a second. T3. Train the trainer. Those are the skills. You know what I love was Christine and Jeanette this morning when I canceled T3. Christine and Jeanette met here anyway to work on those. It's there's the guy who's the most prolific trainer in the NBA today is a guy by the name of Drew Hanlon. His company is called Pure Sweat. He trains Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid. He trains all the big guys, right? Actually, my boys and I got a chance to see him train Jason Tatum in West LA, like 15 of us. He's also from the Lou. Jason Tatum's from the Lou, right? And the trainer that my boys work out is one of his trainers. But one of his like company mottos, one of their cliches is what they call unseen hours. Unseen hours. What are unseen hours? It's all the hours that the great ones put in the gym when nobody's watching. Before practice, after practice, days that practice isn't scheduled, all the unseen hours that they put into it, okay? What Jeanette and Christine were doing this morning was unseen hours. They didn't tell anybody they were coming here, they weren't looking for anybody, they were working on their skills. So, T3, train the trainer, those are the skills, and then field training. You're going to develop your skills, I want you to hear me on this. Your real skills are developed train the trainer, and in field training. This is when you develop skills, not in a classroom, not in general training, not on a conference call. What knowledge do you need to develop? Thanks for asking. You need to develop a knowledge of our business format system. First time I read the business format system, I thought it was a cartoon. This is written for 4th graders, sort of elementary. I'm a big time executive. This is sort of like kiddie stuff. But as I evolved in the business, I read it from a different perspective. It's like sometimes when you're a brand new little Christian, you're looking through the Bible and you're like, oh, that's a neat little story about how this big fish ate this guy, and how this guy built this really big boat, right? But as you grow and mature in your faith, you read the same stories, you read the same verses in Scripture, and the book doesn't change, you change. Our book doesn't change, you change and level up as a leader, and you get a different level of wisdom out of the exact same letters, the exact same sentences. So you've got to develop the knowledge of our system. How does the system work? And you've got to develop knowledge about like the products in industry. Like when Marco got started with, I was like, hey, you've got certain skills that are transferable. Like a big part of your success in your current industry is based on your understanding of the products, but that's maybe like 10% of your success. He has to know, you have to know whatever your industry is that you're in now as a part-timer, you have to know that industry, know that job well. But that's not like 90% of what causes you to be successful, that's like maybe 10% of the pie, right? You've got to develop the right habits to be successful, right? What are the right habits? It's like the habits are, a big part of your habits that I'm teaching people right now is teaching my oldest son today, teaching Warner, like, it's the habit of planning your week and scheduling and then running your schedule, right? Part of it's habits like of meeting attendance. Part of it's habits of preparation, of getting here early, of staying late. Like, it's so many of that, like, success leaves clues. In the classroom when you're going to high school, I know a bunch of you didn't finish high school, so when you're in junior high, right? Or high school or college, there are certain habits, like I was teasing Samuel about earlier. If I said, what are the habits of a good student? It'd be like, whether you're a good student or not, wouldn't matter. You know what the habits of the good students were. They came early. They sat in the front of the room. They had a good relationship with all of their teachers. They would, unseen hours, they would put extra time in. They would go to study groups. They would actually go to the library. They would meet with their professors after school or before school were necessary. Maybe they had, like there was these systems, right? They had flashcards. There was a certain way they studied. They not only turned in their homework, but they were constantly checking where their grades were for things. There was these, like if I said, what are the behaviors of top students? Those are the things you guys would describe. If I had more time, I'd ask, and then you guys would answer all those things, right? All those things apply here. People show up early, they stay late, they want to sit in the front of the room, they want to get close to what I call the fire, they want to get close to me, they want to get close to Dan. Even though there's more pressure, there's more pushback, like there's more pressure the closer you are. It's a little bit more uncomfortable. It's way more comfortable to be in the back. It's way more comfortable to have sort of a friendly acquaintance type of relationship. It gets more uncomfortable the closer you get because the expectations are higher. The accountability is higher. So I would call it being close to the fire. Most people, it's a little too hot. So they make it about the person that's bringing the heat, not about like, well, right? In the word they call it what? The the salvation, what do they call it, salvation's fire? No, that's not what they call it. Louis, what's the fire that purifies, what do they talk about?
Baptism of fire?
But no,
Refining.
the yes, refining, yes. The fire refines us, we talk about like in scripture, right? You get close to the fire, it refines us. We want the salvation, I'm talking about business salvation, we just don't want to be refined. I want all the salvation, I just want to stay the way I am. It's like people of faith, like, yeah, I totally am into that Jesus thing and the whole heaven thing, can't I just do this little sin thing over here? I still want to be able to do the drinking or the gambling or the porn or the drugs or the whatever it is or the lying or the gossiping, but I'm into this Christian thing, just let me do the sin deal, right? They don't want to go through the fire, right?
Right.
But when you do go through it, you're glad that you did. Like the new version of you, the new identity is far better than the older one, but the older one, we're hanging on to stuff that's a part of our identity that we don't want to let go of, right?
No.
So the habits, what are all the habits of the successful people? Who do you think in my entire hierarchy is the closest to me and the most aligned with me?
Warner.
Now, is she the most successful? Is Melinda the most successful? Is Mark the most successful? I don't know. But Nikki and Mark have kept themselves close for a long time. On a weekly basis, I talk to Nikki probably more than anybody else. Of course, texting, talking, like I've always got time for her. She's always got time for me, right? It wasn't always pretty. There was a lot of, right? Same with me and Charlize, same with me and Mylette. Like it wasn't always pretty, right? So the habits. What are the habits of successful people? Are you trying to, with your habits, to get success without changing your habits? Or are you trying to adapt new habits no matter how uncomfortable they are? Right? And then the mindset. Some of you get tired of me talking about the mindset. I get it. The reason that sometimes we get tired of it is because it's confrontational. We're challenging thinking and existing beliefs, right? So what is the mindset? Let's go through the mindset. The mindset, and this is, I'm not judging anyone. I don't want you to judge me, but if you do, it's okay. But like the reality of it, most of the prospects are in the room, most of our clients, most of us have an employee mindset. And we're trying to go from employee to self-employed. And we're trying to go from self-employed to business owner. Because you understand the difference between the three, doesn't mean you have the mindset of a business owner. You can understand the difference without thinking that way. Is everybody clear on that? Right? My daughter, before I bought her the car, before she got the license, she understood like how to drive a car. That didn't mean she knew how to drive a car. Like she understood it in her head, right? The mindset of going from middle class, which most of you are, whether it's lower middle class, upper middle class, middle class. Most of our prospects, most of our clients are middle class people. How do we go from middle class to upper class to wealthy? I must have accidentally hit the record button. Some of what I was just talking to you guys about is now in our notes. How do I go from, and once again, I don't mean to offend anybody. Sometimes when I put out labels like this, people are offended, right? How do you go from being average and ordinary? I was talking, when I was closing BPM, I was talking to guys about that in there. I was like, hey, you can freaking call me anything you want, don't call me average and ordinary. Hey, you can throw all kinds of crazy stuff at me, don't call me average and ordinary. Because I may be all those other things, but I ain't average and ordinary, right? How do we go from being average and ordinary, middle class, got a job, going through the motion, Wednesday's hump day, thank God, right, Thirsty Thursday, thank God it's Friday, right? Like, my weeks are so miserable, yay, I have 2 days to enjoy my life, the other 5 are miserable. How do I go from ordinary and average to an achiever? How do I go from achiever, somebody that's getting results, making a move, to winner? Somebody that's actually winning. Because there's a difference between being an achiever and a winner. Achiever's a step, winner's the next step. How do I go from there to being a champ? Sports, entertainment, business, how do I become a champion? It's a different level of consciousness, like we started off this morning talking about. Different level of thinking. There's a guy that I was watching being interviewed a couple of weeks ago. Grew up, young buck, wanted to be a professional basketball player. Dude was 5'5". Like his mindset was, his intentions, I want to be a professional basketball player. He's a little toddler, playing in the little youth leagues, right? Growing up, well, he never really grew up because he's 5'5" as a grown man, but, right? Plays for the Harlem Globetrotters. Has for over a decade. That might not be the NBA, but it's a professional basketball player. He's making a living, his only living, playing basketball. That was his dream. Guarantee you, he's got a champion's mindset. Because the most obvious limitation that should keep him completely ineligible for being a professional basketball player didn't stop him. It would stop 99.99999% of human beings. Didn't stop him. Why? He wasn't a taller 5.5, right? He wasn't a faster 5'5" guy. He had a different mindset. Okay? So here's what I want you to think about. The four big building blocks, the four big pillars, these are the four that you need to have to play you need to have the right skills, the right knowledge, the right habits, the right mindset. By the way, that's true of any job that you have. You want to be a successful restaurant owner, you got to have certain skills, certain knowledge, certain habits, certain mindset. Successful school teacher, successful stay-at-home soccer mom, I want to own a jewelry business, right? These would be four elements. Now, what falls behind skills, knowledge, habits, and mindset would differ for each one of these. But these are the four what I would call raw ingredients, sort of the big building blocks, right? That makes sense? Yes? Any questions?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Any questions? No?
No.
So here's my 5-step process for achieving just about anything that you want in life. I've taught it before. People forget. I'm going to teach it again. Number 1, dreams. Michelle, remember Monday night when we sat down with those 3 young bucks? 3 young guys. They all grew up in Santa Ana. Poor to lower middle class. The one guy's dad, I asked them about their backgrounds. The one guy's dad had been working in the fields for 25 years. That's, in my mind, that's the hardest working job in the state of California. If you're working in the fields every day, every year, I don't know anybody that works harder. Now, do most of the guys working in the fields get rich?
Yeah.
So, is hard work an element of success?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the only element? Does it guarantee success?
No.
No.
Okay.
Because those guys work really hard and they never get wealthy. He's the this guy's dad, you could tell, was the kind of guy that had a lot of dignity, a lot of pride. He's got a runny nose. He's getting up early in the morning. He's getting in them fields and he's working for his family no matter what. No matter what. So he's trying to provide a better life for his family. They can count on him because he's showing up no matter what it is. Think about doing it 25 years. You're not a young cookie anymore working the fields. It doesn't. You don't get a free pass because you're older working the fields. You got to do the same work as the young man, right? That's a hard working dude, right? The other guy, his dad immigrated here, got a job as a cook in a small Mexican restaurant. Eventually, the owner sold him the restaurant. From the guy's description, he opens the restaurant in the morning, closes it at night, 7 days a week. Like, always just paycheck to paycheck, just week to week to week to week, working incredible hours. Hard working dude, right? Third guy tells me his family story, right? These kids are young, hungry, and ambitious. They want to do something different with their lives, better with their lives. They appreciate and respect all their parents have done for them at life. They went to this Impact Players event Sunday where my brother-in-law spoke and a bunch of other people. Like, they're trying to move forward. And I respectfully told them, you got almost no chance. Because poor kids grow up and tend to be poor adults. Middle-class kids tend to grow up being middle class. Rich kids tend to grow up, most of them wind up being rich. Let's be honest. You can change socioeconomic groups, it's unbelievably difficult. And simply you wanting a better life for yourself, you having good intentions is not enough. First thing is you gotta be clear on what you want. So I started asking, hey, by the time you're 30, how do you see things? This is what I'm getting to. they couldn't tell me. They knew they wanted things to be better. I just want to be happy by the time I'm 30. Well, I'd like to be able to have like this cabin that my family could go to. Okay, that's good, that's a start, and then that was the end. You're not gonna hit a target you can't even see. The first step to achieving is you gotta get clear on what you really, really want. When you're not clear on what you really, really want, you know what happens? You wind up working for other people who are clear on what they want. And then you work to help them get what they want. And you get whatever you can. You've got to get super clear on what you really want. I gave you guys I spent a lot of time a couple of weeks ago in person and on my conference call helping you guys to work through this process. Very few of you did the exercise. Which goes right back to what we were teaching earlier. Middle class is the most delusional. They're close enough to know that things can be way better for their life. They experience it. They had that one family vacation or this one thing or that one thing. So they know that life can be awesome for them, but they delude themselves into think they're more obsessed with their vision than they really are, and they delude themselves into thinking that they're working harder than they really are. So if I spent all of this time giving you guys the specific exercise to really help you with this, and then you didn't do it, you didn't follow through, we might be deluding ourselves. That's not a statement of judgment. I love on you guys, and I keep encouraging, and I keep teaching and preaching and helping and doing everything I can, but I can't do it for you. And even if I could, I wouldn't. Because if I got to drag you across the starting line, I'll probably be dragging you across the finish line, right? But you've got to get clear on what you really want. Most people, if I sat down, if I made you stand up right now in front of everybody, and start asking about what do you really, really want? What is it that you have to have? What is it that you're thinking about all the time? Most of you could articulate, if I put you on the spot, under that kind of pressure, most of you could do a great job of articulating what you don't want. Because you're thinking all the time about what you don't want, what you're afraid of. I don't want to lose this, I don't want this to happen, I'm worried about this. Most middle class people are consumed with all the things they don't want, all the things they're afraid of. And they're not really clear on what they really want. They'll tell you who they are, but then when you tell them to articulate it, well, and you can just tell they're sort of thinking in their mind and sort of making it up as they go. And if you ask them a week later, it'll sound different. Because they're not really clear. It's like, depends on what mood you catch them all the time, but you ever be around a little kid and it's getting close to Christmas? And they won't freaking shut up about what they want for Christmas. And they can tell you every freaking detail of this thing that they want and where you can get it and how much it is and when this is like, like nonstop. That's exactly what I'm talking. And how oftentimes do the kids get exactly what they want? Most of the time. Because they're freaking clear on what they want. You've got to have that childlike enthusiasm and be crystal clear. I don't care about the freaking Barbie. I don't care about the G.I. Joe. I've got to have the Play-Doh set. I've got to have the 12-color Play-Doh set, the 3-ounce containers each. I need to have the molds. Here's the mold set I want. Here's the mold set I don't like. Crystal clear. Crystal clear. And you're talking about it all the time. You know how to know if you're really clear on this? Like, if Gerardo's really crystal clear on this, Marlene, I could pull her up and she could tell me word for word, because she's heard him talk about it so many times with such great specificity, she knows even the words he uses to describe it. That would tell me this guy's crystal clear. Carol stands up. Here's exactly what Steve wants, when he wants it, exactly how he wants it. Ernst. Boom. Right? My parents. Boom. It's got to start here. And Luke, can we go back to the comp slide?
Yep.
This is the real comp slide, Marlene, not the one we showed you in there. The one we showed you in there is just sort of baby steps, right? Show me the SMD. This is just the next one, just this one. This is just a good starter place, 30 grand a month would be a good starter for a lot of you guys. When you're not clear on this, crystal clear on this, there's no real reason to change my skills, knowledge, habits, and mindset so that my behaviors can grow with my intentions to do this. There's a reason, but it's not a very strong reason. You're never gonna want this bad enough to get it. I want you to hear me on this. You're never gonna want this bad enough to get it. You can want this bad enough to get that. That's the vehicle. This is where you're going. When you're obsessed with the vehicle and not with where you're going, you'll probably wind up with neither. When you're obsessed with where you're going, you learn how to drive the vehicle and how it works and how to make it perform at a high level quickly. When you're obsessed with where you're going to have to get there. It's got to start with your dreams. We break down your dreams. 5-step process always works. Nobody does it. Taught it for decades. So your goals. Difference between dreams and goals. Dreams, this is where I'm going. This is what it's going to be like. This is what it's going to be like for my spouse, for my kids, for my teammates, for my friends. Like, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to experience. Here's what I want to have. Here's how I want to contribute. Here's the difference I want to make. I'm clear. And I'm thinking about it all the time. And I can describe it in specificity. And I've got tools that I taught you guys how to build a couple weeks ago, and here's the crazy thing, the exercise I give you takes like 15 minutes. Most people didn't do it. 15 minutes? 15 minutes? Because why? Because I let class out, didn't make you do it in class. Nobody puts in the unseen hours. They say, I'm really going to win, I want to win, and then they can't even do 15 minutes of homework. Right? You have the tools, and the tools are constantly reminding you of what you want. Constantly keeping you focused on the target, because there's lots of things in the field of battle trying to distract you what it is that you really want. So then I break it down to goals. What are the goals I need to have today, this week, this month, that are going to move me a little bit closer to my dreams? What are the goals that are going to move me a little bit closer? Maybe I want to earn $500,000 a year. Before that, I got to earn $250,000. Before that, I got to earn $1,000 a week in this business. Then 2. Then I go to 4. Then I go to 5. And I start, right? But if like the goal is I want to earn $500,000, thus I want to earn $12,000 a week, that's probably too far away right now. I need goals that are going to stair step me there. Number 3. You know, like if I'm honest with you guys, we talked about delusional thinking earlier. Most people never get past step 1. They think they know what they want, they really don't. Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, said that thinking is the hardest work that man does, which is the probable reason that so few men engage in it. Taking the time to think about what you really want for your life for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Like, well, who's got time for that? I'm so busy. What the are you so busy doing? Run around in circles chasing your tail? So that you get more of what you've already got that you're already worried about isn't enough? What are you so busy doing? Like, I was teaching somebody this the other day. There's being efficient and being effective. Eduardo, was it Eduardo I was teaching? Efficient and effective. They're important to understanding how time works. Efficiency is the default mode. What does that mean? The automatic mode, the default mode of the universe. What is efficiency about? Efficiency is about how do I get more things done faster? More things done faster. Most of your lives are an example of, I got all these things I got to get done. I got more and more things I got. All these things on my to-do list. You ever seen somebody that's really successful and they make it look easy? Yes or no?
Yeah.
They're not efficient. They're effective. Effective is getting the right things done. Whole bunch of things you can drop the ball on, but I got to get the right things done to move the needle. Middle class people are really good at being busy. Here's one of the worst affirmations you women can have, because it creates a limiting belief and a self-fulfilling prophecy. Most of you won't change it because the more times you tell yourself, it fills you with pride. Even though pride comes before the fall. But you're like, I can't let go of that because it's part of my identity. Here's what many, many, many women tell themselves. A mother's work
Never done.
And they tell them this thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Mother's work is never done. Well, that's exciting. Sign me up for that. That's empowering. Makes me feel like I can go conquer the world. what it creates is feelings of there's never enough time, I have to do everything, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed. But it's part of being a mom. And I take pride in it, and a mother's work is never done, and I'm proud to carry that label. You're creating a limiting belief. How many of you want to live a life where your work is never done?
No.
It's like something I'm always chasing and never ever can get there. It's like I'm on the treadmill and like I never reach the end point. Most will keep telling themselves that anyway because your pride and you've done it for so many years you can't change the script in your head. It's just not a healthy script. It's just not a healthy script. Okay? Most will never get to here. Few will get to here. Third step is you got to have a plan for achieving your goals. You got to have a weekly plan, monthly plan, quarterly plan for achieving your goals. Life plans are great, things change a lot. I want to know I've got a plan for this day, I got a plan for this week, I got a plan for this month, maybe even this quarter, maybe the year, but the plan I'm most obsessed with is the plan for this day. I can't do next week's work today. I can't do next month's work today. I can do today's work today. I've got to have a plan that breaks down my year to my quarter to my month to my week to today. What are the things I need to plan to do? What are the strategies that are going to get me to achieve the goals? And as I start achieving these goals that are going to fulfill my dreams, my purpose. And here's what I'm teaching Warner right now. Here's what I was teaching my son this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't pop up here because we're texting back and forth on my oldest son. Is taking the plan. Here's where full-timers and part-timers really breaks down. If you make it this far, which by the way nobody ever does. Like if you've made it this far, you're like in the top 99% of middle-class human beings. Honestly, you got to schedule it. Not a to-do list, a schedule. What's the difference? How many of you have ever had a to-do list and not finished the whole to-do list in a given day? Anybody? How many ever felt like at the end of the day I didn't get everything done? Can I give you a secret about time management? You're never going to. Like honestly, part of being successful is accepting the fact you're not going to get everything done. Accepting the fact that you're not going to get everything done. And when you have a to-do list, here's the problem. There's not a time when I'm going to do it, and there's not a time frame for how long it's going to take me to do it. So it's this big nebulous thing. It's a wish list. It's not a to-do list. It's a wish list. When I'm okay the beginning of the week of you created a big to-do list, I do it all the time. Here's the way I do it. In my family, here's my wish list for this week. Here's all the things I'd like to be able to do with my family this week. In my fitness, here's all the things I'd like to be able to do for my health and fitness. In my faith, here's all the things I'd like to be able to do to express my faith. In my business, here's all the things I'd like to be able to do here. Financially, here's all the things I'd like to be able to do here. And when I look at all these lists in these different areas of my life, I just go, there's no way I'm getting all this done this week. So then what I do is I start looking, there's an old law called Pareto's Law. I don't have time to get into a lot of detail. 80-20. 20% of the things that you do create 80% of the results in your life. That's the short version of it. I can do a whole hour on this, but 20% of the things that you do get 80% of the results that you're looking for. So if I've got a list, it's got 10 things on it, I'm looking for, and this is, let's say, the financial part of my life. It doesn't matter what it is. What are the 2 things, if I get just these 2 done this week, that are going to give me 80% of the results I'm looking for this year in my life this week? And I put those 2 in my schedule. A specific time I'm going to start, a specific time I'm going to finish. Why a time that I finish? Why is that important? It's the law of diminishing returns. It's called Parkinson's Law. If you want to sound smart and tell people about Parkinson's Law, what is Parkinson's Law? It has nothing to do with Parkinson's disease. Here's what Parkinson's Law says. I want you to just listen to me and think about how you naturally do these things. The more time I spend doing something, the more time I convince myself that the thing I just spent all this time doing was really, really important. Why? Because none of us want to admit that we're wasting our time. So we justify by saying this was that important. It's like here's the way 80-20 rule, being efficient versus effective, works with Parkinson's law. Here's a real obvious example. Man, I've got all these things I want to achieve in business or running my home this week. And I sit down at my little desk in the office or my little home desk, my little home office. And before I start getting all these things done, I just got to get this thing organized because my desk is a mess. So I just got to get organized, then I can be productive. And then you spend a half an hour and then an hour and you start justifying, you know what, as soon as I get this organized, then I'll be so productive the rest of the week. And then it becomes an hour and a half and 2 hours and 2.5 hours of organizing. You weren't productive at all. But now you convince yourself how important it was for you to spend that 2.5 hours getting organized, because that's going to cause you to be more productive. But I don't have any more time today to work on these things, so now I'm going to leave, because now I got to go pick up the kids and do the laundry and make dinner. You got freaking nothing done, but in your mind I got all this done, because you can't acknowledge the fact that it was a complete waste of time. And if you're looking at the 10 things that you needed to get done, organizing the desk wouldn't have been one of the 2 that's going to get you 80% of the results that you need this week. But you don't look at things that way, because you look at things emotionally. And then we justify them or rationalize them after the fact. So you create these to-do lists in each area. You go, here's, if I can only get 2 of these done this week, this would be the 2. And I put them on my schedule with a start and an end time. Why is an end time important? You ever I'll give you an example. Somebody's working on a Word document, a spreadsheet, something that they have to give to somebody else at work or something like that. And you get in 30 minutes, it's pretty much done. But then you spend another 45 minutes making it look even better, even prettier, even tighter. It was done at an acceptable level in 30 minutes, but you just wasted an additional 45 minutes, incrementally improving it by 5, 10, or 12%. You doubled or spent 250% more time making it incrementally better. There's an old adage that says if you're going to do something, do it right. Do it right. Do it well. If you want to get something right, if you're going to do something, do it well. If you're going to do something, do it right. It's complete BS. It's 1950s thinking. Most things just need to get done. Most things just need to get done. Some things need to get done at a high level, not everything. Some things just done. If my wife has my kids put away their own laundry, she's been well, they're not going to fold it the right way, and they're not going to put it away the right way in their dressers. I'm like, who cares? It's folded and it's put away. How neatly it's folded and they're just going to pull it out anyway. If they put it away, they know where it is. For you to spend extra time folding it the way you like it folded and putting it the way you like, what's the return on that for you? Honestly, as far as an investment of time, it's not good. Especially when you repeat that week after week, multiple times a week. There's a lot of things that we get to an acceptable level and we spend way more time trying to improve the level, and we're just wasting our time because we find comfort in getting these 8 things done on the list, and we're afraid of tackling the 2 that's going to change our lives. You got to schedule it. But why do most people not do a schedule? I've tried working off a schedule before, it just doesn't work with my personality. Number 1. Here, what's the second excuse? I already know what I need to do. So I don't need to write it down. I already know what I need to do. You ever told yourself that before? I've tried working off a schedule and I just can't. It's a skill. That's why you can't. You keep practicing it, getting feedback, trying again, getting feedback, you'll get better at it. But you really think really successful men and women that you know have 0 schedule at all, they just wing it through life? They remember everything in their heads.
No.
Of course not. But you want to be them, but your personality doesn't work with a schedule. No, it's a skill you need to develop. Part-time or full-time. Part-timers fail because they don't schedule WFG. They don't schedule time to unseen hours. They don't schedule that half an hour every day after they get off work. Full-timers don't schedule their day because they have the whole week to get all these things done, and then they wind up getting done all these stupid things and not the important things. Schedule. You're not going to outproduce your schedule. By the way, what if I have an hour schedule and I don't get everything in that task done? You had an hour scheduled, move on to the next thing. It's going to force you to do a better job of getting it done to an acceptable level, It's gonna force you to understand how much time it really takes to get things done better. What happens is, when you start well, I need to get this done anyway, so I'm just gonna do it another 15 minutes, another half hour, another hour, and then it bleeds into the other things. My wife will tell you, when I'm home, like last night we were on a date, I wasn't worried about any of you or anything going on. Like, I was like present in the moment, me and her. Remember at one point, she said, I just had like a quick smirk. I was surprised she caught it. She said, what are you smiling about? I go, nothing. She goes, no, what are you smiling about? I go, honestly? She's like, yeah. I go, like, I'm just so enjoying the moment, just so appreciate, right, the moment. And I said, just like, your energy, I said, you look just freaking, like you, I always tell you how, like, you look amazing tonight, but just your energy, I just like am so enjoying the moment being here, and just getting a chance to experience this, like this far in. I love you guys. I wasn't thinking about one of y'all. I wasn't worrying about work. I wasn't worrying about things at home. I wasn't worrying about our children. I was present in the moment. And when I'm here, I'm not worried about things like I'm present. How can I be present? Because of my schedule. I trust myself that when I have time with my wife scheduled, that it's me and her. And I trust myself when I have an appointment or a work thing that I'm on that. Most people, because they're not scheduled, because they're trying to get all these things done, they're with their spouse, but like their brain is scattered and they're all over the place. And they're at work and they're worried about things at home, and they're at home and they're worried about things at work. Because they don't trust themselves, because they're not working on developing this skill. Okay? I know I'm going late. I'm sorry, Sharon. I normally don't go this late. It's okay. If you need to go, go. I won't be offended. You're not going to hurt my feelings, I promise. I totally get it, because we're going long. I'm almost done, but I'm not done. What?
Mickey Mouse says it's Tuesday.
The fifth step is accountability. That's a word that people hate. It sounds vulgar to half the room. All it means is you're keeping score. You're keeping score. You're keeping track. You watch sports. There's a scoreboard the whole time. You know exactly where you are, where you're not, how much time is left, what you need to do to win. You're keeping score. Most people don't keep score in life. Why is there such a huge need for what we do to help people financially? Because people don't keep score financially. They just have paychecks and bills, paychecks and bills. They're not keeping score of their net worth. They're not keeping score of where they are with their debt and how, and what's the schedule, what's the goal, what's the plan for paying that off, what's the plan and schedule for accumulating wealth and growing, and what are the strategies. They're not keeping score financially. They're not keeping score of fitness. No matter how hard I work out or don't work out, no matter what I eat or don't eat, I step on the scale every freaking morning. Why? I keep score. It's accountability. Now, like last night, my wife and I went a little off the chain. I told her I was in the mood because she suggested this restaurant we used to always go to when we first got engaged and first got married. And it was on the way home from bringing this car back from Cyprus. So she's like, what do you think about going there? I go, that's a great idea. I would have never thought of it. She's like, are you sure? I go, yes, because well, we always go on dates. We're leaving our house, and so we're always staying somewhere close because we're old. We don't roll too far out, right? I'm old, she's not. I go, and so this is like in Brea, right? It's Cedar Creek in Brea. And we've been going there for 20 plus years, and they've got the best. I'm not a big calamari guy. They got calamari like, who's got big fat, Marco, hold up your hands. Look at his fingers. Look at his fingers. Nice and high so everybody can see. They got calamari that look like his fingers. They're big, round, thick. Just a little bit of breading around them. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not a bad thing. And then they've got this jalapeno tartar. Oh, frick. Like I can just chug it. Jalapeno tartar is just off the chain. So we get the calamari and the jalapeno, and then they got these things they call zuni rolls. It's like turkey and Gruyere, that one of them French cheeses, and little bacon bits, and they roll it up in like this really fine, it's almost like a tortilla, but it's very fine, and they grill it. And then they've got this raspberry chipotle sauce.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Cedar Creek in Brea. A couple of glasses of Cabernet.
Yeah.
$15 a glass.
That's all right.
Maybe more than two. And then we went straight from apps, skipped the omelet tray, we went straight to the coconut cake. Which is totally not like me, right? Still stepped on the scale this morning. I knew it was gonna be ugly. Like I'm eating at that time of night and eating that kind of stuff and having a couple of glasses of wine. And I know, but I'm keeping score. Not just keeping score when I'm winning, keeping score when it's most important, when I'm behind. Rather than just saying, well, I already know I'm behind, so I don't want to look at the score. I already know I'm behind, I don't want to look at my checking account balance. I already know I'm behind, I don't want to look at whatever. Now I'm keeping score when I'm behind, because that's going to modify my behavior. These are the 5 steps to winning in life, in my opinion. And this is sort of like the big picture, 20,000 foot view level. You've got to be hitting on all 5 of these. It takes work. You've got to constantly be working on all 5 of these. It's better, Marlene, if you're working with a coach or a mentor who knows how to do this and is helping other people to learn how to do this. You'll learn it faster. You'll apply it faster. You know how many thousands of people I've taught this over the past 2 decades, 3 decades? I wouldn't know how to quantify. But how many of them do you think have really used that?
Mark Robson,
Nick, yeah. This is what you need in the order, right? But people don't. It's okay that you don't. That's part of what we're just trying to put in perspective. It's not that you don't have good intentions, but our behaviors congruent with our intentions. All right, I'm gonna wrap up. I think. Okay, so Rod, I had so much more to go through.
One last thing.
One last thing. Warner's been around. I don't think anything's a must. I want to just share, there is one last thing. There's actually 2 last things. I'll make it super quick because Marlene, how do you spell it, Marlene? Oh, just like it sounds. That makes it easy. M-A-R-L-E-N. 2 last things. One, I want you to follow Jay Goffey, Jay Jr. on Instagram. I want you to follow him. He's a good follow. But I want our Instagram game to be better than his Instagram game, and I'm impatient. I don't want to wait a long time. What does that mean? That means more of you need to be clipping and boomerang and a little bit here and a little bit there and tagging each other and tagging me and I don't need you like spending like thousands of hours, but it's about more people contributing that creates greater quantity, greater quality. Can we agree to do that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Is this the English speaking group? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to up our Instagram game, and if you're grabbing one, elbow the guy next to you and go, hey, right? Hey, join us, get something, right? I want to share real quick, as long as we're talking about goals, I want to talk specifically about what my goals are for my base shop, for this team right here, this group of us, right? It's not the only group, I got 13 officers, okay? I don't think this is the whole show, okay? I want to talk specifically. So, Warner will send me these texts, C to EVC, C to SEVC. That really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. That's not one of my personal goals. It's not on the radar right now. Somebody's like, well, it should be, or blah, 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 blah. I'm in. You ever see American Gangster with Denzel Washington? You gotta watch it. It's on Netflix. That's a great watch. But yes, and here's what I want you to think about when you watch it. I want you to think about me saying, I'm in. It'll have a totally different meaning to you, and you'll go, oh, that's what that dude meant. I'm in. Okay? It's like, I very rarely watch a movie twice. I'm too busy. I watch that movie multiple times. That's a good movie, right? Based on a true story. So, Instagram game. So why wouldn't I want to be an EVC or an SEVC? Oh, I do, but I want that to be a byproduct of building the machine the right way. I'm not here to chase titles. For any of you that were in area-wide, Dan just randomly picked people and said, what are your goals for the month?
25.
Yeah, every single person other than me gave a cash flow goal. Cash flow is not a sustainable goal. It's not about building the machine. For me, it was a building the machine goal because cash flow is a byproduct of building the machine. The person that was the #1 cash flow or had all that cash flow recognition, the big talk a month ago at that meeting from the whole region, didn't talk this month. Why? Because they had a big cash flow month, but then they didn't do it again the next month. Why? Because they made a bunch of personal sales. When you build the machine, build the business, build a company the way I'm teaching you guys, the cash flow is month after month after month after month. Because the cash flow is a byproduct of the machine of the company. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm teaching you guys how to build a machine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Holy cow. So, I've been saying this for a long time, it's 30 in meeting attendance. We got as high as 26, we've been bumping around between like 18 to 23 pretty consistently. The leaders need to level up and step up building their meeting attendance. I've had very specific conversations with them about doing that. We get from 30 to 50, we get from 50 to 75, we get from 75 to 100. That's my goal. Hasn't changed, it's been my goal for a while. 30 is the one I've been talking a lot about. Why? Because I gotta get to 30 before I can get to 50. Okay? Why? Because I understand the machine. J. Paul Getty, the wealthiest man in the world at one point in the previous century, said, I'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 men than 100% of my own efforts. How many of you follow? Okay? If it's 100% on me and I got a runny nose, I can't work that day, I'm broke that day. If I got 1% of the efforts of 100 men, I'm diversifying. Right? It's not all on me. It's a team. Right? No self-made millionaires, only team-made millionaires. 20 apps a month, 40 apps a month, 60 apps a month, 80 apps a month, 100 apps a month for our base shop. I'm not writing all those. I don't want to write one of them. I want to teach you guys how to write them, have you guys write them. I want you guys stuffing your pockets with cash. That, my energy is, I already know how to do this. I've already done it. I want to teach you guys how to do it faster, easier, how to help more people. My goals are based around meeting attendance, that's why that number is important. The second step is number of licensed agents. Marco's going to be another one. Right? Marco will be right after him. And then apps. Why? Because these things, this is the machine. These things are sustainable. If you're running 30, 50, if you're running 50 agents a meeting, meeting after meeting, if you've got 35 licensed agents, if you're running 60 apps a month off of that, like, you're going to have some big apps, you're going to have a lot of small apps and a lot of average size apps, but it's sustainable. So if you're at, let's just say you're at 50 agents, 60 apps a month, right? And let's say you're at 35 of those 50 are licensed. So your meeting attendance over the course of the month might be 43, 52, 47, 55, 49, 46, 54. Your app count month to month might be 56, 67, 40, right? It's going to bounce around, and the size of the apps are going to vary. The overall production, but it's the consistency there, and this number is going to drive this number, and this number is going to drive this number. What most people in our business focus on is what's the production, how many points, and what's the revenue or income that you're getting off of that. To me, what I understand business, this is a byproduct of this. Like a couple of months ago, Steve Adams' production was like 33,000 points, and my production that month was like 20,000 points. So everybody goes, yay, Steve, Steve's the winner. Steve's production was based on 2 apps. Our production was based on 20 apps. The next month, we had 23 apps. Next month, Steve had like 4. The next month, we were at like 25,000 points. Steve was like at 8. Why? Because the production's a byproduct of the apps. He just happened to hit 2 big apps. I'm not concerned about chasing big ones or the production. It's a byproduct of doing the work up front. Okay, last principle. I just wanted to share with you guys specifically what my targets are, what my goals are. I wanted to remind you of them so you know what I'm chasing. It's not a title, it's not production, it's not an income. Those things are byproducts. Here's the basic simple. This is right out of scripture, right? Plant seeds, they have a harvest. You can't control the harvest. What you can control is how many seeds you plant and how often you plant the seeds. If you plant just a few seeds and you're hoping for a really big harvest, you oftentimes will be disappointed. If you plant lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of seeds, some are going to take root, others won't, right? Scripture tells us the story, right, of casting the seeds out. Some of the seeds fell on hard ground, right? Some of the seeds were picked up by birds and taken away. Some of the seeds started to grow roots, but shallow roots. The sun came down, scorched the plant, killed the plant. Others found moist soil, deep roots, bore a lot of fruit. You're just in charge of scattering the seeds, planting the seeds. You can't control what happens to each and every seed. I was talking about ready, aim before. What Sam will do is firing. Sam will spreading seeds. Lots and lots of seeds. So when he has somebody takes harvest, it looks great, but it's a result of he scattering more seeds. I'm trying to teach you how to build a machine, how to build a company by doing just that, sharing great ideas. Like, here's what I believe, and this is not from an arrogance thing, but this is what I believe. These ideas that I've shared with you today, they have created value in my life for me. I didn't learn them all the first time, but I kept working on them over and over and over, and I've learned many of these ideas that I've taught you guys today. I've learned them firsthand through my own experiences, not just because I heard about them. So I try to share those same ideas with you because they created value for me. What I believe is we created a bunch of value here today. If you agree with me, then you scatter seeds, you share seeds, you go, hey, there's a lot of value here, you ought to come and see if you can get value out of this like I'm getting value out of this, because I'm growing personally, I'm growing professionally, and I see where this is going for me, I see where it's going for others, I see where it's already gone for others. This is good soil, and it's a good environment, and there's good fertilizer here. Scattering the seeds is just bringing people into the environment. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. We've got a little bit over a month left, a little bit over 2 weeks left in the month. This Wednesday, I won't be here this Wednesday night. I'm having like a little outpatient surgery Wednesday night, nothing severe. I'm just getting a small breast augmentation. My age, you know, things, you just gotta tighten up things a little bit. No, I'm getting a double septum. So, and my nose is really bad, so I'm getting that done. I'll probably be back in the office Thursday, that's sort of the plan. So, I won't be here Wednesday night, but everybody else will be back here. It'll be huge, it'll be packed, it'll be twice as packed. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'm a text away, I can't read your mind, but I am here to help you. If I know what you need help with, I know where to help you. If I give you feedback or coaching and it makes you uncomfortable, know that my intentions are, I only want to help you to win. Sometimes you don't like what you're hearing, but sometimes it's what we need to hear. Sometimes when I discipline my children, they don't like being disciplined, but it's what they need to do to grow. So no, I'm not trying to be a disciplinarian or a totalitarian. I'm not trying to do like an ego play on you. I just want you to win, and if you don't win, if I never see you again, I'll be okay, I promise. But I genuinely want to win, and that's why I risk the relationship sometimes by having conversations about things that are uncomfortable for you, but not uncomfortable for me, okay? Yeah. I care enough about you guys that I really want you to win in all areas, not just here, okay? Love you guys, have a great week, I'll be around for a while. Louis.